We're broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios.
The Middle Tennessee Electric Studios.
Middle Tennessee Electric, serving to make life better.
Visit mte.com.
This is a WGNS Action Line. Talk Rutherford County News
since 1947.
The WGNS Action Line. Now your host, Scott Walker.
Today we'll be talking about everything having to do with master gardeners, landscaping, flowers, growing vegetables, that kind of stuff. Carol Wood with us today and Sarah Wade as well, both master gardeners. How are both of y'all doing today?
We're doing great. We're thankful for some rain.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've had a couple of days of just some small showers, I guess. But that being said, I can tell the difference in the grass already.
Sure. There was a lot of crispy lawns there for a while.
The hardest thing to do, I think, at least for me over the years, has been to keep my lawn nice looking, green, and not a bunch of weeds in it.
Yes, well, the thicker that turf gets, the less likely you are to have weeds.
That's right. And again, Master Gardeners with us today. If you do have any gardening-related questions, text those to us at 615-893-1450 and let us know what some of the problems you may be having are. But what are people thinking about this time of year more than anything?
Just getting plants in the yard. I mean, there's all these great plant sales. All the high schools have plant sales. Our Master Gardener County doesn't do a plant sale. We had a plant swap a few weekends ago. A lot of you came out for that. That was wonderful. So this is just the season where everyone wants to plant everything. However, we have not had a lot of rain until the past few days. So it's been a little bit plants with rain. They have to have water. So,
rain isn't, but something about
thing.
water and growing stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing how it works, right?
Water, sun, and air.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to have those three things.
I have noticed a lot more people put in watering systems into their landscaping. I don't know if there's a company going around selling these systems or not, but I've seen a lot more people who have actually put in systems. It covers their yard as well, but I've seen a lot more of that this year so far.
Yes, well, I think the drought has maybe sort of forced their hand. There's lots of ways to sort of manage the water needs of your yard, but on average, most plants and turf need a half inch to an inch of water per week.
That's a lot of water, a lot more than I think what we kind of imagine in the back of our head.
Yes, and it's not just a 15-minute water every day. It's really a deep water a couple times a day, a couple times a week, sorry.
So to get to that level, I mean, just a regular system in your yard that sprays the whole yard, that sprays the plants and everything, how many gallons do you think folks could potentially go through?
Oh, gee.
Just watch your water bill. It's terrible. So the best way to know really is if you have an irrigation system is to place a cup or a rain gauge out, and you can look to see how long it takes your sprinkler system to raise that water in that gauge to half an inch. Depending on your system, it could be 30 minutes. It might be an hour.
That's a decent amount of water right there.
Yes, it is. Sure.
And there's also a great thing to do, and that is kind of collect the rain as it comes in through water barrels and things of that nature.
Yes, and there are now self-containing planters that you can either build yourself or buy, and so that reduces the amount of water you need or the amount of frequency that you have to water plants. I know I really don't like having to water my herbs every day. So, I mean, but it's just a fact of life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that you have to do. And the other thing that has to be done, which you don't really have a lot of control over, is sunshine. I mean, that is definitely needed. But then again, you want to make sure you plant your plants in the correct place so they don't get too much sunshine, depending on what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think knowing what your plants are and how thirsty they are.
Yeah.
I mean, some plants don't need much water at all. So those you want to try to put in those really dry areas in your yard.
Now, one of those plants that people do enjoy growing each and every year would be tomato plants. Tomatoes are just so popular, especially in the South.
Well, because they're delicious.
They are good, especially the ones that are perfectly red. Have you been to restaurants before and they, a tomato comes with whatever you're getting and it's like almost green.
Yeah, it's yellow.
Yeah.
No
good
thank
flavor
you.
there.
No flavor at all.
But you can tell a real difference in, the seasonal store purchased tomatoes versus the one you grow yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Homegrown tomatoes are the best. Yeah.
happy to find that there were some homegrown tomatoes at a couple of the produce places that I go to. And, they're super expensive right now, but it's like a summer tomato, so it's almost worth it.
Yeah. Do you remember the days where we used to have roadside vegetable stands and fruit stands, things along those lines, which you really don't see anymore unless you travel outside of Middle Tennessee. Although I think there is one or two counties that I have seen that in fairly close to us, but rarely do you see that anymore.
Yeah, I think most farmers are selling at farmers markets. I know the city of Murfreesboro Farmers Market, which we host a table at, is on May 16th. I don't think that's the opening. I think everything kicks off on about May 9th, this weekend, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was, last weekend it opened.
Right.
Perfect.
The farmers market at the Ag Center on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yes.
There's lots of farmers markets in this town, so that's good.
The thing that I love most about the farmers market at the Ag Center is the fact that we're talking about really locally grown, locally produced meats. I mean, it comes from this Middle Tennessee area. And in fact, that's the good part about the Ag Center is that they have folks who will go out and check these farms to ensure they really are bringing in truly locally produced, not only meats, but fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's keep our dollars at home.
Yeah, definitely. And for those out there who are thinking about maybe re-landscaping in front of their house, all around their house, what are some tips that you would give them? Because, I drive past some houses and I see maybe it's a foot from, the actual house itself, and it's a foot out of landscaping, literally like 12 inches worth of somebody just throws mulch down, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But man, when you go all out and you actually have a design in place, you don't just do it off the top of your head, but you actually put some thought into it. It changes the look of the house.
Absolutely. I think landscaping can really add a lot of street value, that pretty street look that you want from the street, so your house looks pretty.
That's right.
Well, if I could talk about, for a second, with the watering, we really like to bring attention to native plants. Native plants is something that has been here in Tennessee from the dawn of time. And so they are adapted to drought conditions, to if we have a lot of rain, then they'll adapt. Like they're really good for that. And so when you're re-landscaping a yard, I'm not saying you have to be, I am not a 100% native purist. There are some out there, and that's great. But I like a mix of both. So just know that. Know like that if you have some native plants in there, that when we do have 3 months of a drought, your plant is going to be fine, instead of some things that just take a ton of water and you're just going to be fighting it all year. It depends on how much time and effort you want to put into it. I don't like to be sitting in my yard every morning watering, but some people like to do that.
Or pulling weeds.
Or pulling weeds.
Weeds are no fun.
And, I think when a lot of people think about natives, they think about flowers, but there are bushes and trees as well.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they support all our pollinators here, which are important. So don't just think about the black-eyed Susans, which will take over your yard if you let them, but also, serviceberry and some of the
Asters.
Some of the stuff you just see on the roadside.
Yeah. Do you remember, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, where we had a summer drought. In fact, it was really across the country we had a drought for the most part. And the Mississippi River even. It was
dried up.
Record lows.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like to look at what's blooming at that point, and that's what I want in my yard. Because it's the least effort that I have to do later on,
Well, I remember it was so new to everybody out there that I even traveled to Memphis so that I could walk on the floor of the Mississippi, and I did in some areas. That's one of those things that occurs that it hurts everybody. I mean, and you don't realize it until it happens, but that really does a lot to the economy.
It does.
Sure. You got a lot of traffic, barge traffic goes up and down that river. And so I think even they were having navigation problems.
It takes me to realizing at that point also soil and how much that has to do with being able to grow properly the right fruits and vegetables, because when you're there where the Mississippi was at one point, there's so much sand, and we don't have that amount of sand here in Middle Tennessee like you do in West Tennessee, and that makes a difference.
Sure. I keep going by construction sites, and it looks about like 8 inches on soil on top of rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Lots
you know,
and lots of rock.
That's what you've got. But,
Yeah.
you know, if you look at the hillsides, they're covered with trees. So those trees' roots are able to get through those rocks.
It does bring us to one question, and that's why I said all that, because we have one question here
good.
that's not audiology.
Not audiology. That's good. That's good.
But they mentioned that recently, I guess it was Murfreesboro Parks and Rec, they did a Barfield Bash beach party, but they brought in tons of sand. And it says, I noticed the Parks and Rec department brings in tons and tons of sand each year to mix in to some of their dirt, especially on their playing fields. But how is sand, or could sand be used locally if I mix it into my soil? Is that a positive or a negative? I have no idea myself.
Well, the sand helps change the texture of the soil, but it's not adding any nutrient value. So, I lived on the eastern shore of Maryland for a very long time, and it was very, very sandy, and it grew things wonderfully, but it needed a lot of fertilizer.
Yeah.
So it changes the makeup of your soil, so allows better root structure and those kinds of things.
And I bet it allows for better watering.
Water flow, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
if you're somewhere like my house is just clay.
Yeah.
That's complete clay. So adding some sand in there is going to help be a little bit more porous, but you can't having a mixture of both is,
Sure.
I would think, ideal.
I know we talked about before, we have all these new neighborhoods in Murfreesboro, and when you drive through these brand new neighborhoods, the yards are so incredibly flat, and then you walk on them, and it's like walking on a brick sidewalk.
Yeah.
They're so compacted.
Because there is a level of gravel that those were built on that is probably, depending on how much soil they put it back on top of the yard, is somewhere maybe 6 inches, 4 inches of soil, and then you hit packed gravel.
It's tough to dig into that
It is
if you
hard to
want to
dig.
plant anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I don't know that the contractors think through some of those decisions when they compact it so tight, thinking, oh, this looks great, it looks level. It does, but man, it makes it hard to grow anything. It really does.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so I think one good solution is, years and years of mulch application.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That mulch breaks down.
It does.
It's really wonderful. So you can add soil that way. It does break down into soil.
I had a tree in my yard that when we bought it, it just looked like I didn't know what kind of tree it was. But after a couple of years of mulching, of it breaking down, it turned out it was an apple tree. It started blooming.
that's cool.
And it was like, oh, wow, this is an apple tree. But it just because of all the nutrients that the mulching provided over a couple of years, it was amazing. I was like, oh, wow. So you never know what you have.
That's right. You never can tell what you'll get in Middle
Yeah,
Tennessee, depending on what side of town.
It's
you
true.
kind of get all limestone and rocks, or dirt, some dirt, clay.
Yeah. You go by some places and there's plenty of soil.
And you drive to just one county over. Like, for example, if you drive to Eagleville, you can see a change in the dirt right away. And then as you get into Williamson County, College Grove area, there is a big difference in just landscape and dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the questions we do have this morning, why do tomato plants look healthy but barely produce any tomatoes? And I guess that probably a issue going on with them personally, because you don't see that everywhere.
That could be several things. Number one, what I have noticed is that some people grow tomatoes in the same exact location year after year after year after year. And what has happened is that soil has been stripped of nutrients. And so I had a friend a couple years ago reach out and said, I'm not getting any tomatoes. And I said, where did you plant the tomatoes last year? Same spot? Year before? Same spot? Mm-hmm. So finally she moved the tomatoes to somewhere, a different bed. All of a sudden they produce. So tomatoes, what do they call them? The divas of the garden?
Yes.
They need fertilizer. They need water. Of course, the tomato's watery, so they need water. They need fertilizer. They need some extra tender care. But if you take care of those two things, they usually do pretty well.
And I got a text back to confirm audiology tomorrow.
Oh.
So I didn't mean to say all that on the radio right before y'all
That's
came
right.
in. And anyway,
We were listening.
That's right. This morning we're talking lawns and gardens. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to text those in 615-893-1450. And in studio with us today, Master Gardeners Carol Wood and Sarah Wade. And we don't have any audiologists here at all. So
Yes.
don't ask any hearing questions. What's the best way to keep weeds out of flower beds without using harsh chemicals?
Your hands. Get down and
Well,
weed them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mulching.
Mulching will
yeah.
help a lot. And so I like about 2 inches of mulch.
Yeah, I go a little thicker, actually.
And sometimes thicker. So when you
Depends
spread
on how
it-
much I hate the weed. I'll pile more on.
Yes.
I'm going to kill you.
Another question we have here. Good morning. What types of shrubs could I put in in front of my house so I don't have to trim as much due to a shoulder problem? And it says, thank you in advance.
Yes.
Very kind.
So I pretty much am an anti-pruner. I like the original shape of a lot of these plants. So the only thing I think you need to remember is that you have to give them enough room to branch out. So hydrangea is a beautiful plant that doesn't necessarily need to be pruned. And so that's also a native plant that does well here.
Viburnum. Look a lot like hydrangea.
Yep, viburnum.
There's lots of them.
Yeah. So yes. So if you like the more natural look,
Yeah.
instead of the globe-shaped balls or, the perfectly straight across hedge. I mean, that's just my preference. So
Suddenly have 3 more questions here. And one of them is asking about getting rid of a tree stump. It says, I'm adding to my driveway and I've got a tree that is right in the middle of where I'm going to add on. I've already cut it down. And now it's a matter of getting rid of the rest of the tree in the ground. It says, I've tried burning it, but that has not helped. Somebody mentioned salt, and I actually had a bag of salt left from last winter and poured that on top of it. Do you have any other suggestions? So I guess it's the main portion. I guess they cut the tree right as close to ground level as possible. They're trying to get rid of what's left of it.
I think you're going to have to dig it out personally. Well, if you had decades, the tree would eventually rot. But since you don't have decades, I think you're going to have to excavate it out. So I know back in my day, I've probably tried to wrap chains around things and pull them out with a pickup truck. But depending on how big it is.
And I guess also what type of tree it was, because man, if you put asphalt or gravel, or not gravel, but if you put asphalt or concrete down, I mean, I guess that tree could literally start or continue growing.
Well, it shouldn't if, so, I mean, that's another, is dig it out and then cut it really low and then cover over it.
Yeah.
So
Theoretically, I guess you're eliminating, its water source, the sunlight, all of that. So,
right.
But I could see where that would be, I guess, even in concrete settling, I guess that could lead to problems in the future. I didn't even think about that.
I'm surprised the burning. I've done that with several of mine over the years, and I just put a barricade around it, like a concrete, so the fire won't spread. But I use coals instead of just fire. Put a bunch of hot coals on it and let it just sit all day all night, and that's always worked really well for me. So
that's a good idea.
I mean, I think there are products out there that you can buy that you can put on the stumps. I don't know if they are offhand, or you just rent a stump grinder.
Yeah.
I never heard salt before, though.
I've never heard of salt before.
No, that seems like that's, not sure.
Next question is, I live in an HOA neighborhood with townhomes, and they do the landscaping for us, but I've noticed a huge issue with what look like centipedes, and they all seem to be coming from the mulch, and we're talking hundreds, if not thousands, of centipedes. I would not want that problem.
Me either.
Yeah.
Some sting, too.
I've never heard of that one either.
Well, I'm just wondering where they bought their their product because,
I want to make sure I'm away from that.
yes,
Right. And a lot of these, and I don't want to sound critical or anything, but a lot of times there's a difference between a landscaper and a gardener, and sometimes
And then
they're
you have
not
a
as
developer.
knowledgeable.
Yeah.
You know?
Then you have a developer who
Right.
literally puts
You know,
the cheapest down.
We all have to have jobs, so I don't want to criticize anybody, but sometimes they're not really making the best choices, possibly. But I don't know.
That would not be good because
No.
you would have, they're going to get into your house. There's not a way around that, right?
I think I'd call my HOA and tell them they have a
Absolutely.
problem
Yeah.
that need to come deal with.
Yeah, that would not be a good problem to have at all. Another question we have here, and again, Master Gardeners Carol Wood and also Sarah Wade in studio with us this morning. And if you have a lawn or garden question, feel free to text it in 615-893-1450. Just want to ask, why are brown patches suddenly showing up in my yard even though we've had some rain?
My guess is you might have an insect or a grub under there eating the roots of those. So I might take a shovel to that brown patch and turn it over and see if there's something under there. If these are new, my guess is probably an insect eating your roots. I don't know. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, I was trying to think too. Sometimes it's there was a weed there, but it was a winter weed, so it was green because it was winter. But now that weed has died out because we're about to have summer weeds. And sometimes my yard is, I say it's grass. It's really just weeds and
Natives.
natives. There you go. But as those winter weeds die out, you're like, oh no! But it's really just that plant season as life of over. It's over now. It's time for the
Right.
summer ones. So sometimes it could be it could be so many things. I don't know.
We got to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to learn about the big secret garden tour because that's
Sure.
right around the corner. In fact, what is it? It's next month, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's coming up June 6th and 7th, and we will get to that in just a second. Time right now, 8:40, and you're tuned to WGNS. Stay with us. We have more lawn and garden talk to continue. If you have any lawn or garden questions, text those to us at 615-893-1450.
The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Hey, Jim, where'd you source out those maters from?
Right out of my field.
The Rutherford County Farmers Market is located at 315 John R. Rice Boulevard. Open Friday 8 to noon, Tuesday 7 to noon or 2 to 7.
No middlemen, just local hands and local dirt.
This is Peter Demas, and our family is inviting your family to come eat with us at Demas's restaurant. We're trying to give them a place where they can eat with their family that's not fast food. We want to create an atmosphere where we can sit down and just have a good old-fashioned family dinner. But unfortunately now, most people can't do it at home. So, two people are working, the kids' activities, and so what we're doing is we provide that, and we make it affordable. Come eat with us at Demas's restaurant on Northwest Broad Street.
Hi, this is Dan with Music World and Drummer's Den. Our prices are as good or better than the box stores. I don't think you'll do better by shopping online than you would by coming in. If you're into podcasting, we have starter kits that have everything you need to get started. The interface for your computer or microphone, headphones, you'll be online in no time. If you need a PA, you need lights, we've got all for rent. Music World and Drummer's Den, 2762 South Church Street, right across from the golf course.
The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
This morning, we're talking lawns and gardens. If you have any questions, text them to us, 615-893-1450, and we'll try to get some answers for you. Carol Wood and Sarah Wade with us this morning, Master Gardeners, and right before that break, I mentioned the Secret Garden Tour that's going to be in Murfreesboro, June 6th and 7th. So tell us more about that.
Sure. Well, this event is sponsored by the Discovery Center. It's their 34th annual Secret Garden Tour. So they've been doing this for a while. And I think this year there's even more gardens.
There's a lot of homes on the list, yes.
Yes.
I don't know the number offhand. There's a lot.
It's always interesting to see how people make their backyard, turn it into something that you would never imagine.
Just phenomenal, right?
A lot of creativity there.
This is one of my favorite events of the year. I love this event.
So it's a $20 ticket, and you can go between 10 and 4 on either June 6th or June 7th, and you get to see beautiful gardens.
You just get a list of the addresses, and you go at your own pace and walk around. The owners are there. You can talk to them. As Master Gardeners, we have a table out front, so you can ask us questions. It's beautiful. The gardens are there in this town every year. I think, well, it can't get better this year than it was last year, and every year I'm proven wrong. It's just astounding, the garden community we have around here.
It's one of those events that you go to where you can get lots and lots of ideas too.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. And there's big yards, small yards, so you get to see something that might fit in your yard.
Yeah, and it's always good to get those new ideas too, because there's a lot of stuff that you'll drive past every day on your way to work or whatever, and you don't notice it until you just slow down and actually look around. And I think we're so busy this day and age, we fail to slow down and just look around at times.
Yeah, and a lot of it is people's backyards. So the front of it just looks, like a couple of shrubs, and it's beautiful, but it just looks normal, if you want to say that. And then you go in their backyard, and you're like, it's an oasis. What in the? It's amazing.
Because it's HOA friendly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But it makes you feel different when you walk out of your back door into something that is pleasant versus weeds and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's an outdoor living space is really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it does something for your psyche. I mean, it really does help you out, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And then I guess working in the yard, it too is almost a therapy for some people.
It is a therapy. So there's lots of evidence even to support that. So get out in your yard and pull a weed.
Yeah, or 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
I know one question we always get is about dandelions and what to do about them if you don't like them in your yard, because they're kind of like weeds in a lot of ways.
Yes,
I'm a purist. I'm a dandelion purist because it's some of the first food that our bees have come this spring. So I just deal with it. If it's right in the middle of a garden bed or right next to a plant, then I'll just pull it out. I'll just use my hands and pull it out. But I don't get kind of. I'm not. I want the bees to have food.
Yeah.
And if you don't want them to totally spread, just pull their seed head off.
Yeah.
And do something with that, so those seeds don't disperse all over everywhere, and then you have even more dandelions.
It's funny though. Over the years, I see less of them as new neighborhoods develop, and I don't know if it goes back to that compacted soil or what, but it does seem like I see less of them.
I think when they strip the soil off your yard, it removes the seed bed, and so the new developments have less of whatever was naturally there anyhow.
And a lot of these neighborhoods, they're built in what used to be farmers' fields, and that's, I don't know that. I guess there's value there in some ways, and there's also not some value there in some ways, depending on what you plan to do in the future with your yard.
Yeah, I know in Alabama you don't want to put your house on an old cotton field.
No.
Because they just the number of pesticides they had to use and herbicides to keep that stuff growing. That you have a sterile yard is what you have.
And that's a great thing. Going back to having your own garden to grow your own fruits, vegetables, whatever it is that you know exactly what you're putting into it.
Yeah, I think that's how most of us do it. And there's just something about walking out, 10 feet from your back door and pulling some lettuce and making a salad and their tomato. And you know exactly what's in it or what's there. And it's literally farm to table.
Yeah.
You're walking 5 feet back into your house and making a salad. It just does something.
It's not going to rot in 2 days.
Right. Yeah.
Because you don't know how long it's been in a grocery store.
Yeah. Here's a great question. And I know I've heard this before, but can coffee grounds really help plants, or is that just a gardening myth? Coffee grounds.
Well, they are compostable.
Yeah. No, they do. They add a lot of nitrogen back. If you have coffee grounds, absolutely. And honestly, some people have really big compost piles, and that's great. And I've tried that over the years. I've gotten lazier over the years, and I just take stuff and just chuck it into the yard. I mean, it's going to break down. It'll be fine. It
might not happen all at once, but it will break down
so
eventually.
If you have some coffee grounds, and I don't drink coffee, but people have given me them over the years, and I just sprinkle them out in the yard. It's not going to hurt it. It's just going to, over time, help. So
another good one, and I know we see some of this in Tennessee for sure. What's the safest way to get rid of poison ivy around my house? Because I'm allergic to it, and so is my husband.
Well,
send your kids out there then. See if they're...
Yeah. I mean, I've had to dig it, and so you protect yourself. You put on your jeans and your boots and your long sleeves and your glove. And there is a product that you can buy that's over the counter that is a lotion that you put on your skin. And I think the AT&T guys, those guys that work, online all the time that are around poison ivy, use this stuff. And it prevents the sap from getting on your skin. And then they also have a wash, and I can't remember the name of it, but look for it. It does work. I've used it before. But generally, you just have to dig that stuff.
But you can't, and I'm going to, take the opposite end of that, is that, there are sprays out there. Now, we don't need to go crazy with sprays. There are rules. If you follow the directions, I think anyone at the extension office would say that, if you have a bunch of poison ivy, you don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
And there are some sprays but I'm not going crazy in my yard with the spray. I am going out first thing in the morning. I am spraying only the base of that plant. It's not trickling elsewhere. That kind of a thing. But, don't go crazy with it. But there's some things that, I don't mess with poison ivy. I see that. I know how to identify that stuff a mile away, and I will just get rid of it. But
there's nothing worse than a poison ivy outbreak.
I had it on my hands last year. I had walk around with my hands wrapped up. It was awful.
So uncomfortable.
It's the worst.
Another good question says, I've got a brand new house. I do not want mulch in my yard. I cannot stand it. And I feel like there's more bugs with it. This person feels very strongly about mulch, but it asks pine straw for landscaping around my trees, around everything. Is that a good idea, or are there other suggestions that you may have?
I think if you don't like the shredded bark mulch, I think pine straw is perfectly appropriate.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, the shredded bark. I forgot about that. That's thicker, a little bit bigger as well. Mm-hmm. So that is a good idea.
Yeah.
I grew up in Georgia. We only use pine straw.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So when I see pine straw, my first thought is, well, first big wind is going to sweep it all away.
That's true.
No, it doesn't really.
No, it compacts in there.
That's wild. Okay. Yeah. Where do you find?
Oh, you can buy it.
Yeah. At Home Depot, Lowe's.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
I've never paid attention.
I forgot about that because growing up, we always had pine straw, but it's not really used here as much, but you can buy it. I have bought it before.
Well, there's a lot of pine trees in Georgia.
There are a lot of pine trees. Yeah, maybe that's why.
If they grow it by the weight, it's got to be lighter too than regular old mulch.
Yeah, put some gloves on when you want to spread that stuff. It gets itchy as it pokes your skin.
Yeah, I could see that too. Let's see, we have another one here. When is the best time of year to reseed and aerate, or am I too late for that?
Wow, you're just at the very end of it. It depends on what grass it is. If it's a warm season grass like Bermuda, you can aerify and overseed. I probably would wait a little bit longer till it gets a little warmer consistently to get that Bermuda seed to germinate. If it's a cool season grass like fescue, probably the absolute best time is in the fall.
Okay.
So it gives time for the seed to germinate, for the roots to get down and really establish themselves before it gets hot in the summer.
Another question is, I am planting a garden for the first time and was warned not to put squash in my garden, even though I love squash, but somebody said it's the weed of vegetables. Is that true?
I have never heard that.
Wow, me either.
I haven't either.
You plant the squash. If you want squash, you plant the squash.
Absolutely.
You do you.
The only thing is that you might have squash bugs, and that's very common in Tennessee.
Squash bugs.
We have so much humidity here that we like every bug on the planet. However, do not let that deter you. You might have that, and you can look up online some things to do.
And you can plant it a little later.
Planting it later. Right. But if you want squash, you grow squash. Don't want people to tell you things.
So that was a myth buster right there.
That's a myth buster. Well, I think that, there's so much information, and it is good. We have so much information. However, it stops people from doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's your garden. You can do what you want. And if you end up with a pest, you can figure out what you want to do to take care of that pest. But if you want squash, then grow some squash.
You know, we have so many people who live here in Tennessee and Middle Tennessee who are from other states. I would say the majority are from other states, other areas of the country. And because of that probably just creates more, skepticism about planting certain things, more myths as well.
It's trial and error, but I mean, I buy plants every year and a lot of them die.
Well,
so it's trial and error,
We've killed our share.
Yeah, I've killed my share of plants. Absolutely.
This person asked, do you fertilize apple trees? If so, what fertilizer would you suggest? Apple trees.
I have not ever fertilized mine. There is you can go on to uthort.com. Just UT, so Hort, HORT.com. Type that in there, and there will be scheduling, fertilizing, and pruning, and all sorts of information that comes from our ag agents across the state. That's where I go first. It's just that website, uthort.com. Type in whatever I want. I think they recently redid the website maybe a year or two ago, and I think their goal was that you could find all the information you needed within 3 clicks. So they've made it very simple to go and just click Apple, and then you can find the research through that.
I'm going to make this next question our last question, and then we'll mention everything going on, everything upcoming, because this is a long one. It's like they wrote a thesis here.
Okay.
It says, I went to the past Secret Garden party tour and was amazed at a beautiful privacy area created by bamboo. It was gorgeous. The total bamboo that circled a seating area took the backyard from a densely populated area to feel like you were alone in the woods. It says, friends thought I was crazy when I wanted to build one of these myself in my own backyard. They said that the bamboo would go all over my yard and eventually take over. Is that true? And what can be done to correct that?
Bamboo is a lot of work. So it puts out rhizomes to spread. And a lot of our native plants that are really successful use that strategy. And so it will spread aggressively. Mm-hmm. I think they're working on some cultivars that don't spread.
Yeah.
And I know people
I'm not sure how to control the spread.
Only you have to cut it down, and it's very difficult. So, there's a bamboo plant place on Almaville Road. I'd maybe ask them if you just really want bamboo, or maybe there would be some other plants that would be a little easier, not as invasive to grow.
So unlike squash, bamboo grows like crazy.
You can grow whatever you want, but there's a consequence to whatever you grow.
And it might spread to your neighbor's yard too.
Yeah.
and beyond. Who knows?
Right.
Also coming up, the Rutherford County Master Gardeners Junior Gardeners Camp, and what's that? June 9th is when that begins for grades.
Third graders.
Yeah, and
then third to fifth.
Then high schoolers too. June 16th. So that's cool.
Well, June 16th is preschool.
Oh, that's preschool. Okay.
Yes, preschool.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Let me put a little closer. So you've got gardening camps for kids.
It's a half-day camp, and kids get to do all kinds of garden-related things.
That's cool.
And it's $75 a camper. So for a half day, that's really good.
And that is at the Lane Agri Park too, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And then programs coming up at the library, Smyrna Library for one, a special series coming up.
Yes, we have Robert Blair, who will be talking about composting on May 16th, 10 a.m.
That would be a good one. He's a good one. I know he did the Limeball Library this past weekend, and I think he has you digging through the trash, figuring out what you can be composted or not. So
yeah, sure.
So go visit him.
Yeah,
that'd be a
great
one.
talk.
And I know you mentioned right in the beginning the farmers market. Now the one on the square, that's the one that starts around what, the 16th?
I think
it's already started.
We're there once a month, and so if you have a question about gardening, check us out. We're there from 7:30 until noon. And then we're also at the Tuesday night farmers market.
And that's new, the Tuesday night farmers market.
They're not every Tuesday night, so you have to sort of check it out. And we have a table that will be present on Friday mornings as well.
And are they still doing the Tuesday morning farmers market as well?
Not if there's a Tuesday. No.
So on the ones that don't have Tuesday night. And then the Friday market, that is every Friday, of course, at the Lane Agri Park. And that starts at what, 7 or 8?
I believe it starts at 7.
So goes on till noon, and that's at the Lane Agri Park on John R. Rice Boulevard. And if anybody has questions, if they want to test their soil, literally just bring it to the Lane Agri Park, right?
Sure. If you want a soil test, you want to take different samples from different places in your yard and put it all together, let it dry out. And then you can take it and they'll give you a box and ship it off to UT, and you get a wonderful chemical analysis of what's in your soil so that you know best how to fertilize and whatnot.
And that's important to do. It'll help you out in the long run for sure. Again, with us this morning, Master Gardeners, Carol Wood, and also Sarah Wade. And if you have any questions, I guess best thing to do would call Lane Agri Park, the UT TSU Agriculture Extension Service, or even go to the farmer's market tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're around. We're everywhere.
You're literally everywhere.
We're literally everywhere.
Well, thank you both for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna.